Hi guys, welcome back to Lost in My Library. My name's Kate. Today I am doing the Philosophy of Reading tag. This was originally created by Brandon's Bookshelf, so I will obviously leave a link in the description to his video. I think this is just what your philosophy, what your outlook of reading is like, based off of the questions that I'm seeing right off the bat. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. I love a good tag. Alright, number 1. What's most important, a good character, plot, or the message? I think that a plot can, I don't know, because, I do like my plots. I like a good story. I like getting behind a good story, following a story. I think plot is very important to me. I like knowing where or seeing something to have the book be formed around. Plus, I like some good characters. I need good characters on top of a good plot. And if there's a good message in there, that's great, but I don't need a message in there. Sometimes I just want to, read to have fun, and doesn't necessarily have to have a message. I do like plots. I think it kind of depends on the... I like my plots. I like having something to go, to lean upon. I do like lore. I'm a big lore person. I think that's partially just because I like to watch game theory a lot. Game theory, film theory, all the theories, I like them. Like kids' conspiracy theory. Not gonna lie. Okay, number 2. Should one read books about ideas or opinions they disagree with? I think that being open to reading books, because, I am from the South. I'm picking up this book. I've been wanting to read this book. And I've been trying to figure out a way to have my family read this book. And I think it's just that I don't think there's going to be a book that you necessarily 100% disagree with. You can find good things in a lot of books. You don't have to necessarily agree with everything. But reading to see a different perspective is good. It doesn't have to influence you, but expanding your knowledge about other perspectives is good. Number 3, as tech advances, what do you think will be the role of books? I think books will always be there, but I think e-books and audiobooks are going to be more center stage. But I think books are always going to be there in some way, shape, or form. Stories are always going to be a part of everyone's lives. In some way, shape, or form. So, maybe we'll eventually get away with physical books. Although, I do like my physical. I like my physical books way too much. Okay, number 4. How important are summaries, reviews, and art in your book of choosing? When it comes to mysteries and thrillers, I don't necessarily like a lot of plot of a summary. I like a basic premise, or like saying like 10 by Gretchen McNeil is like And Then There Were None, in the sense of those buzzwords like isolated thriller, or domestic thriller. You know, I like buzzwords. But when it comes to like fantasy or contemporary, I do like a good summary, because especially when it comes to romances or contemporaries where I'm not necessarily reading those all the time, I do like a summary to get me hooked. Yeah. Aren't necessarily not all that necessarily important to me. Number 5, should one ever skim or scan a book? To each their own. I don't necessarily like it because I don't like spoilers, so I tend to not do that. To each their own. If you want to do that to see if the book is going to be for you, whatever. I'm not going to tell somebody don't do something unless it's actively harming someone else. To each their own. So, number 6, should reading always be enjoyable? Depends on what your attention is. This isn't always going to be enjoyable, but I'm not reading this for fun. My intention for reading this is very different than my intention of reading this. This is for fun. I expect this to be enjoyable. This isn't for fun. This is for expanding my knowledge. No, it's not necessarily always going to be fun, but this book isn't necessarily meaning to be fun, nor am I going into this I'm going into a different mindset than what I would with this book. So it just depends on what you're going into it for. If you're reading for it to be fun, yes, it should be enjoyable. If it's going for a different kind of mindset, what you're wanting to get out of this book, no, it does not have to be enjoyable. Number 7, is it important to be well read? Like reading, I think we should all try different genres, and try and expand. Maybe you'll like something. Try and find things that are different and out of our comfort zone, and maybe we like it, maybe we won't. But at least you tried. Not necessarily you should read all the classics. Decide what is important to you and read that. But there are some classics. We have read a lot of white people's classics. So reading people of color's classics of all races is also very important. Because we are very white-centric in our school systems. So reading classics of different cultures and races is also very, very important. Number 8, what is your book buying process? I buy, what I want to. I have a tendency of, this is what I'm in the mood for, and going with that. A lot of it is seeing stuff on BookTube, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds interesting, and buying it. Series, tend to buy series, try kind of all at once, or multiple books of a series together. And wanting, or currently Stephen King, I am reading a book and then buying the next book. Some authors are like that for me. Brandon Sanderson's also kind of like that. Although I have the next book after Hero of Ages ready for me when I'm done with Hero of Ages. And then I have Cytonic, which is coming in. So I'm loosey-goosey when it comes. I don't have a set process of what I want to buy. If there's a sale on books, I tend to buy it. Yeah. Let's see. What is your reading process? I tend to read a chapter at a time. I'm currently reading multiple books at once. Yeesh. Like right now, I'm reading White Fragility. I am reading Heroes Ages. Then I have an ebook on the go. I have the Ashok, which is book 2 of the Partois trilogy. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that correctly. I haven't figured out how I'm supposed to say that. And then I have my ARC, which I'm also going, and it's called the Hawthorne Legacy. No, Hawthorne School, not Hawthorne Legacy. I think I just bought that book. So Hawthorne School. I've got that going on as well. I just finished Burn Palace. I was reading that, but I have a multitude of books going on right now. Okay. How do you use what you read? How do you use what I read? I like to tell people about books. I like talking about books, recommending books. My friends tend to come to me with asking what I like. I like reading. How do I use? Obviously with nonfiction like White Fragility. I know I'm talking a lot about White Fragility, mainly because it's sitting right here, and mainly because I'm also currently reading it. I don't know why it's sounding very crinkly right now, but it is. Like that I use to better myself, kind of thing. And hard-hitting contemporaries like The Hate You Give, I also tend to use to better myself as a human being. Excuse me. Number 11, if you download a book to your brain, if you could download a book to your brain, would you still read it? Probably. I like the journey. I like the experience of reading books. I like imagining how things go down. I just like it all. I like the experience of books. Number 12, what are your views on rereading a book? I love rereading. I love rereads of favorite books because, like, it just warms my heart, and I like jumping back into a book that you loved when you read it and being with the characters again. Just, oh, it's like a warm hug. It's like a warm hug, even though it tends to punch you in the gut. Sometimes, depending on who your favorite author is. Rick Riordan. Number 13, what makes a book good? What makes a book good? It has a solid plot, solid characters, and there is progress of some kind made. I like lore, so I like backstory, I like world. When it comes to like fantasy and sci-fi, I love it. I love it all. What makes a good book bad is not having solid characters, not having solid plots, just being willy-nilly, and there is no progression of anything. That's what makes a book bad. When there is no change from the plot perspective or the character perspective, there is no change. And you're just like, what was the reason for this book? Number 15, how do you feel about not finishing a book? I like finishing a book. I like pushing through things because it might shock you by the end. I feel bad about not finishing books. I really do. It tends to happen. Now I'm more inclined to push through, and that's why I now have my TBR where it's not monthly. My TBR game isn't monthly. It's just whenever I finish that TBR, I play the next round. Number 16, should the author's personal life matter at all? I think, to me, the author's personal life makes me decide if I want to monetarily buy a book. If I get it from the library, I am going to feel less bad, but monetarily supports them, I don't want to do. So, yeah. Even buying it like secondhand also would make me feel better because that money's not going back to them. It affects me because of giving them money, giving them support. Yeah. Number 17, if you could only read one genre for the rest of your time, what would it be? I think it would have to be fantasy, because I really like my mysteries, so I really do like my mysteries. I might have to say mystery, because I really like my mysteries. I really like my mysteries. I think I could survive on mysteries. I could thrive on mysteries, probably. Number 18, do you ever read a book without knowing anything about it? Yes. A lot of books. Like, Mistborn. Did I really know anything about Mistborn going into it? Did I know anything about Lantris going into it? No, not really. Other than it was a fantasy. That's kind of all I knew about a lot of that. Most books I really pre-booktube, when I was getting into booktube, I knew nothing about a lot of the books that I've picked up, and then I just fell in love, and then now I know more about books and things, and I kind of miss not knowing things. Number 19, what author, genre, series, or culture can you just not get into, and why? I don't know. I've talked about authors that I'm just like, yeah, no. E.L. James, like, no. I haven't gotten into smut, erotic fiction, but I think I could just enjoy that when it's done well. Because, like, E.L. James doesn't do it well. Smut done well, I could probably get into it. I don't know if I could get behind romances that are toxic. I don't think I could enjoy those kind of books where there's just toxicity to the max. So, like Colleen Hoover, I don't think I could ever really get into a lot of her books because she writes about toxic relationships a lot, and people are into it, and sure, that's their thing, but my thing, I don't think I could ever really get into those kind of romances. I know Colleen Hoover has less problematic books with less problematic relationships, so I probably could get into those, but so I'm not going to completely write off Colleen Hoover. But fantasy romance, I also tend to not be able to get into or just like something romance. If it's straight romance, it's fine. But if it's like fantasy romance or sci-fi romance, I tend to not like it because I like fantasy. I like sci-fi. I like those more than I like romance. And when you stick romance at the end, it tends to be heavy on the romance and not so heavy on the fantasy or the sci-fi or whatever. So, tend not to like something romance. If it's straight romance, I'm fine. Because I know what I'm getting into. It's romance. Number 20. Do you think everyone should read? Why? I think there is something for everybody. Something out there for everybody to read. I think there... if it's just not your thing, or if you just don't want to read, that's fine. But I do think there is books out there for everyone. But if you don't want to read, I'm not going to shame you for not wanting to read or not really having the capability of sitting down and reading. You can get stories in every way, shape, or form. So, everybody enjoys stories. So, and there's multiple ways of getting your story. And that's not just through reading. But reading is the most obvious. But no, not everyone should have to read if they don't want to read. Reading should, if you're going into wanting to read for enjoyment, you should read for enjoyment. If you don't enjoy reading, don't read for enjoyment. If you're reading for gaining knowledge, I mean, it just depends on what's your mindset about getting into reading. And most of the time, it's reading for enjoyment. And don't read for enjoyment if you don't enjoy it. So, I think I have, that's it. That's all 20 questions about my philosophy on reading. I hope you guys have gotten some kind of enjoyment out of this. This is pretty good. This is a very deep kind of tag. It is 11 o'clock at night. So I am kind of tired. I have to go to work tomorrow. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go be good. Go be kind to do something good for somebody, even if it is for yourself. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys. Love you.